Am I wrong for giving my daughter's vegan friend meaty meals during sleepovers? My daughter and her friend Em are both 12 years old and like to have sleepovers every now and then. Em's family maintains a strict vegan diet where she isn't even allowed to drink milk. That's what fucking veganism is, yeah, okay. Her parents are nice people, although a bit on the neurotic side. So whenever she's over, I always make a big meaty meal for them. Last weekend, I made some cheeseburgers and steak for them on the grill with a big glass of milk. Em absolutely loves it and always politely asks for more, which I happily provide. Em is a bright young girl and she's a good friend to my daughter, but I notice how much smaller and paler she is compared to my daughter. I think it's likely tied to her family's diet. Not for you to decide. For snacks, I give them some of my Venetian turkey. For breakfast, I typically make a big plate of scrambled eggs and bacon, again with a big glass of milk. Despite her size, Em always wolfs down whatever I make, and I have to say, every time she leaves, it looks like she has a healthy glow to her. I know I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I think Em is a bit malnourished. Nothing against vegans or anything. She knows she'll get in big trouble if she tells her folks. I think she fibs a bit to her parents about what she eats here. So it got me thinking, am I wrong for letting my daughter's vegan friend eat meat at my house?
Am I the asshole for secretly recording my parents and exposing their favoritism by posting it on social media? It's gonna be juicy. My parents have always favored my younger brother. I was by no means unloved, but it was blatantly obvious who they cared about more. I worked a part-time job to get my first car, but my brother got one as a present. It wasn't new, but was much newer than mine. It was the same with just about anything else, like clothes, video games, and cell phones. I'm 18 and I'm taking a gap year before community college to work a full-time job and save money for tuition. But a while back, I heard my parents talking about how much they were going to pay for my brother's tuition. I secretly recorded the conversation from around the corner and then came out asking my parents why they were going to pay for my brother's college, but not mine. They didn't notice my phone was recording and just said that my brother needs more help. I asked how so when I wasn't getting any sort of scholarship and he likely wouldn't get one either. Then I asked a few more questions about why things have always been this way. They got mad and my father told me that perhaps it's time I moved out because they are sick of keeping a roof over my head. I pointed out I pay rent, but they didn't care. I left the room and in a fit of rage uploaded the video to 2 different social medias I have and ranted about how this is how my parents have always been. Well, a few hours later, my parents were pounding at my door. My dad was screaming at me about how I made them look bad. We fought some more and they left the room fuming. My grandparents contacted me later and said that they were appalled, then came to visit with a lot of the family the next day. There was a huge family intervention and my parents were made to sit on the couch and look at their feet while being told off. It was then when I found out they'd been receiving money for years from my grandparents to help with family expenses. My brother looked like he didn't know what to do, so he sided with the rest of the family and said he's noticed how I'm treated as well. Hey, he was looking out for his best interest. Look, I ain't going down with the ship, fam. My parents ended up giving me a huge apology that sounded forced. My grandparents offered for me to come live with them soon and will cut off the monthly payments to my parents. My father told me I should have never told the rest of the family and now won't talk to me, and my mother has been crying for days. So I'm starting to wonder if I went too far. So am I the a-hole for exposing my parents' favoritism?
Am I the asshole for ditching my date at the restaurant? Before anyone thinks this is fake, let me assure you I wish it was and I'm in shock. I just recently went on a date with a girl last Tuesday. We met at the gym and I had a crush on her for a while and finally struck up a convo and asked her out. I booked us at a nice Korean restaurant that has Korean barbecue stations. We go to our table and it has a huge grill with a fire on it and she instantly asked what this is. I brushed it off and explained to her and she was like, but why do we have to do all the work? Isn't that their job? I explained to her that it's fun, but we could always order off the menu if she didn't want barbecue. But she said, just make them do it for us. Anne insisted on calling the waitress over and asking her to put the meat on the grill and demanded to be served after it was ready. This elderly Korean lady had to shuffle between tables and come and flip the meat and serve her plates. At this point, I'm super embarrassed and seeing red flags like crazy. I'm Indian, so I'm kind of used to the whole servant-master attitude thing because it's big in India, but I'm not a fan of it and I thought it was weird here in the States. But I wanted to see the date to the end, and yes, shamelessly enough, I was hoping for some adult time. At the end of the meal, she asked for dessert. I agreed and asked to see the menu. The waitress comes over and gives the menu and hands it to her. She says, my God, this place is a nightmare and all these useless immigrants, she's white, come into this country and don't even work and eat up our tax dollars. Are they even legal? She said it loud enough that people heard her. She said it loudly enough that a nearby table of people of color in their 20s started giving her dirty looks and whispering to each other. She notices this and then says same goes for these insert blank for people of Pakistan. At this point, my jaw dropped. I'm Indian and she said this in front of me. She saw my expression and went, oh no, I don't mean Latinos, they're fine. I love Mexican food. So it seemed that she thinks I was Latino. My birth country never came up as I speak with an American accent. She used a racist word against my own countrymen in front of me. So we get the dessert, I get up to use the bathroom, pay the bill with a good tip, and walk out the door. I blocked her and I'm even thinking of switching gyms, but I'm just gonna go in the morning.
Am I the asshole for yelling at my stepfather when he suggested that he could walk me down the aisle? So 2 weeks ago, I got married to my husband. When I was 6 years old, my mom and dad got divorced, and 3 years later, my mom met and married Fred, who has basically been my surrogate dad for all these years, because my biological one hasn't been a huge part of my life, and Fred's kids are basically my siblings. On last minute, my biological dad decided he didn't want to come to my wedding and walk me down the aisle. I got the call while I was getting my makeup done and I was devastated, needless to say. Fred was in the room with me and he started comforting me, telling me it would all be okay, and he said, "If you want, I can walk you down." That just rubbed me the wrong way, and I was already a mess emotionally. Fred knew how much I wanted my biological dad to walk me down the aisle, and he just suggested it like it didn't matter at all, like I hadn't just got my heart broken, and I just snapped and told him he was selfish and told him to get out. So Fred left, and one of my uncles ended up walking me down the aisle. My mom only heard about mine and Fred's fight after the wedding, and she is now pissed off at me, telling me that I overreacted and that I needed to apologize to Fred, even though I was just frustrated and he had suggested something totally out of the left field. My mom told me that I was the selfish one, apparently, and apparently I'm ungrateful. But I feel like his suggestion was completely wrong and that I don't need to apologize. But I don't want to make things worse by not apologizing if I did do something wrong. So, am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for wanting to sue my husband's sister for losing my $2,000 camera at the beach? My 26 female, sister-in-law, 20 female, moved in with me and my husband weeks ago because of problems with her boyfriend. She isn't planning on going back till he apologizes, even though she broke his Xbox device in an argument. I'm a blogger. I have a small space in our apartment, sort of like my office, but very small, where I work for hours. Sister-in-law always enters the room and takes stuff and doesn't return them, resulting in me replacing them till I got a lock. She was going to the beach with some friends to let off some steam and asked if she could borrow my 2K video camera to record the trip, but I declined and explained that I was working on the weekend and would need it. I got done with my project and left my camera at the desk. When I woke up the next day at 9 a.m. and had a shower then breakfast, I entered my office and didn't find my camera. I freaked out, and my husband told me to calm down because his sister took it with her to the beach. He assured me it was in safe hands, but I kept worrying about it and was upset by the fact she took it and he gave her the key. She got back at 7 p.m. and was pissed, talking about getting in a fight with her boyfriend after seeing him with someone else at the beach, and it ruined her day. She started crying loudly and cussing him out. I asked for my camera back. She said she didn't have it. She left angry after the encounter and forgot her sunglasses, cream, hat, and my camera at the beach. Her friend picked some of the stuff and brought it back, but the camera apparently got stolen. I started yelling, calling her irresponsible and reckless, and this was a $2,000 camera she left behind. She started apologizing, then tried to blame it on her now ex-boyfriend for getting her into a fight with the girl he was with. I said I need the camera for my work, and she had to replace it, like yesterday. My husband got involved and said it wasn't her fault it got stolen and suggested I get a cheaper camera from Amazon for now, till I can afford to buy a new one. Why should I buy a replacement when it was his sister who lost it? He tried to make excuses for her being an emotional mess. I said I have no problem suing her. He asked if I was serious, and I said yes. He said he was just trying to help fix the problem, but I said he was just helping his sister avoid responsibility.
Yep.
Both him and his sister aren't speaking to me anymore, claiming they're giving me time to calm down when in fact they're cold shouldering me, making me feel guilty for saying that. I'm not sure if doing this will be morally the right thing, since she's family, as my husband says. Am I the asshole?
Clearly.
Sewer ass.
There's clearly an asshole. Wow, this one's maddening.
My husband and I were expecting our first daughter, and he suggested the name Tiffany, and I fell in love. When I asked what made him pick it, he said he saw it in a movie. I didn't think much of it, and so a couple weeks later, I called my sister and she let me know we're going to name our daughter Tiffany. She was super surprised because she said she never wanted to name her child after her husband's high school girlfriend. I was really confused, but then she told me that they would but eventually admitted that it was true. I told him I'm refusing to name my daughter after his ex-girlfriend, and he told me it's too late, I'm overreacting, and I can't change my mind since I'm only due in 5 more weeks. I basically cried to get as much information as I can when he finally told me that. She had contacted him because she was getting married and was having second thoughts. My husband admitted that talking to her made him realize he never stopped having feelings for her, but he loved me too. The reason he suggested her name is because he knew he couldn't leave me to be with her, so he wanted something to honor her with.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I love you guys so much. Please like and subscribe to see more great
Imagine
videos.
we get lost in love, nowhere to go when you fall out of touch. Maybe I just don't know enough of this language you call love. I'll leave it to my head to think, cause right now I'm in between. And lately I've been scared to blink, cause I've been losing too much time to sink. And all these voices in my head, like hello, are you there? Why do I feel alone again? On a trip